Now, first, let me introduce Eric Loomis, the CEO and founder of Pahhni Water. Eric has over 20 years of experience working in the consumer goods industry. He started his career at Procter & Gamble. Worked in several areas over at Procter & Gamble, including R&D as well as brand building. Then he worked for Pfizer Corporation and then on to GSK. So he's got a lot of experience and background in the consumer goods field in different areas. Satinder Barraj, PhD, worked for Procter & Gamble for over 25 years, has extensive experience in the water industry, specifically in regulatory. He worked for Pure Water, the Pure Water franchise, and both of them are here today to share the progress that they're making in Pahhni Water and what they're doing to build the company, their plans for the future, as well as on the details on how you can get involved with them. You should expect this call to last no more than 45 minutes in total. And I'll ask if you have any questions to please use the chat feature in the Zoom to type your questions. We'll certainly reserve some time here for the final at least 15 minutes for a Q&A for Eric and Satinder to answer your questions in the order they're received, as well as to open the floor for questions directly. So with that, let me turn this over to Eric and to Satinder. So Eric, go ahead and take it away.
You're on mute.
There you go.
Sorry, how's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, you might have muted the wrong one.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Marvin, for that introduction. Thank you for everyone for joining today. I think on behalf of Satinder and myself, Marvin, you did a great job with the introduction, so thank you. For a process, what we thought is Satinder and I will walk through our pitch deck, go over some details, and provide some updates at the end of that pitch deck, and then we'll open it for Q&A. Does that work? All right, so Satinder, if you want to drive and pull up that pitch deck and kick it off. Yep. You can probably skip the summary slide and jump right into it.
All right, go ahead. Oh, sorry, I do this.
Yep.
So what we believe consumers want and need a natural high pH alternative. While there are a range of recommendations regarding how much water a person should drink, one thing is clear: people aren't drinking enough. That goes for in the hot season and in the cold season as well, when you need more hydration due to the air being so dry, us being inside, heating going, etc. So what is Pahhni? Pahhni water is a naturally occurring high pH alkaline water. Clinical studies have shown an alkaline environment within the body is optimal for the functionality of our immune system, making the body more resilient against stress, toxins, and viruses. In addition, there are clinical studies out there that show that alkaline water provides superior hydration for the health-conscious consumer. What makes us different? And I tell folks, most of the alkaline waters that are in the marketplace, the leader, Essentia, Alkaline 88 out of Walmart, Body Armor, Core, Smart Water, these are all generated artificially. What we mean by that is they take every bottled water, starts from a municipal source. It is then processed further. In the case of the alkaline waters that are on the marketplace, that water is first purified by reverse osmosis. And then the next step is it's ionized using electrodes. So you put a positive, negative electrode through it, and you push a current through that moves the pH up. However, during the purification process by reverse osmosis, the natural minerals in the water are taken out. So there is nothing to buffer that pH, to stabilize that pH when it has gone through the ionization process. So what is done is chemicals are added into the water to stabilize that pH. That's, I tell folks, look at our ingredient label. and look at the ingredient label of Essentia, which will tell you all the chemicals added. We're different because our water goes through a natural limestone filtration, which imparts the alkalinity, and our water is stable for over a year. Second thing is we are based out of Hamilton, Ohio. Hamilton's water, municipal water, is a two-time gold medal winner of the best tasting water in the world at the Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting Competition, which is basically the Olympics of water that happens every year. And what we tell folks basically is we start with the best, put it through our proprietary process, and make it slightly better. We do have a pipeline of additional formula, all in the natural realm, looking at flavors, looking at nootropics, etc., that we will be launching here in the next year or so. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to walk through some market data. 2020 global beverage market was 1.5 trillion. Out of that, the global bottled water market was 230 billion. The US bottled water market, which is a big chunk of that, 61 billion, and the alkaline water was 1 billion. So you can see on the right, the US annual growth rate, bottled water versus alkaline water. Alkaline water is growing much faster than bottled water at 61%. Revenue, alkaline water has gone from 1 billion to 4 billion. And 60% of the world's consumption of alkaline water is in the US, making it a key driver for market growth. Are you still getting any feedback, or is it okay?
We're good.
Okay. Next slide, the competition. So the first column is Pahhni. You can see we check all the boxes for natural, award-winning, great taste, aesthetic appeal, which is subjective, but I tell people if we weren't subjective, we would feel the exact same way about that. Alkaline pH and single source. Essentia is the market leader. Second column, you could argue that they have aesthetic appeal. I think they have a nice label. I think the important thing about this slide, there's two things. One is the natural, as Dr. Baraj already mentioned, natural versus artificial. It's a huge pull for a lot of consumers and something they're looking for. The other thing important about this slide is single source. So the majority of other beverage companies pull their manufacturing from different sources. An example I like using, I don't know if you've ever traveled abroad and had a Coke in Europe or a Diet Coke in Europe. It does not taste like a Coke or Diet Coke from here. I think Coke has 30, 31 different formulas globally, depending on what the raw materials are available at the time. So when you're looking for product reproducibility, single source is a really big benefit for us in this category. Next slide. When we wrote this deck a few months ago, we were in over 170 stores and growing. We're currently over 250. We have a huge push in Indianapolis. We've gotten 100 stores there and another 50 in Kentucky, which we're going to be delivering to over the coming weeks. E-commerce is live and available in the continental US. We've also, we'll talk about that, some updates a little later at the end of this presentation. And we recently added capability to manufacture private labels. So we would be open to doing, private label for other people that wanted their own branded product, which is just another revenue stream and a potential opportunity for us. This slide is just Satinder and myself. I think Marvin did a great job of introducing us, so you can probably go to the next slide. For the financials, as mentioned, we started producing in 2022. This starts at the bottom and goes left to right as we go up. We set up manufacturing, inventory, and distribution, had a lot of initial deliveries, manufacturing operations optimization. We're big proponents of you have to do something yourself before you can tell somebody else how to do it. So we're learning everything there is to learn about this business. 2023, our target is 500 stores over 12 months. We're going to be close to that by the time December comes. We've implemented, as I mentioned, the e-commerce and private label manufacturing. And then 2024 to 2026 is our targets are 1,400 stores over the first 2 years. So by the end of 2024, and then 7,000 plus stores over 5 years, and we will be profitable fourth quarter 2024. Next slide. This is just another look at our growth projections, both from a revenue and volume point of view. People oftentimes look at the year 1 to year 2 and say, wow, that's a pretty big jump. Same with year 2 and year 3. That accounts for really moving into some of the big box accounts. So if you think of your Kroger and your Walmarts and others, that's when the volume will dramatically increase as those accounts come on board, and that's the main reason for that. And if you look at essentially as the market leader, when they sold to Nestle in 2019 for almost $1 billion, it was around 250 million in sales. So that's kind of our benchmark. Next slide. This just is a snapshot of our sales from a dollar point of view, cases, internal rate of return, the EBITDA and the pipeline. So I think this has all been touched upon before now. And then the overall ask, I know we're doing a $250,000 raise now. Ultimately, we want to raise up to $4 million. The valuation is based on 3x sales and our projections. Majority of funding will be spent, and I think this breakdown is the same for the initial employees, 40% inventory, 25%. As we get into the second and third year, we hope to be self-sufficient and not need any more funding after that. Risk benefit analysis. As you can see, we have over 1,000 stores waiting, and it's just a matter of geography and distribution. We're currently hiring a sales team based on 100% commission to increase our footprint, and the capital equipment for the money that we've invested so far, year 1, had about $500,000 in capital that we can get money back out of if we need to. And then product cost efficiency, as this is a business of scale, our bottle cost per bottle goes down dramatically as our volume goes up. That's the takeaway from that slide. And then the next slide is just references for the studies, which I think were included in the initial information sent out in the deck. And that's it. So Satinder, do you want to kick off the updates since then?
Sure.
Or do you want to? Okay.
Am I not sharing my screen? I am assuming.
I don't see. Well,
Okay.
it says you're viewing Satinder's screen, but I don't see anything new.
So some of the exciting updates that actually these are we are very excited. So we're talking to so what's the next step for somebody like us? We launched in 21. We were supposed to be in our facility by October of 21. However, due to COVID and supply chain issues, our construction wasn't completed until June of 22. And we had to wait because another 3 weeks for the FDA to come and bless us, because the water falls under the CFR. And so quite realistically, we didn't put any product out there until the early August of 2022. Having said that, when we got very excited. When we got into the stores, we were like, it's August, it's hot, we have water. And, the retailers shook their head and said, you missed half the season. Evidently, the water season starts end of February, which we obviously found out. And we feel that 2023 was our first full year. We're still in it. The water season goes until December so far. So we feel comfortable. And at this point, we are reaching a point where we are now starting to look at distributors, wholesalers, talking to the big boxes. And that's the update we're going to give you right now. So we are talking to the company out from Plainfield, Indiana, called Pure Beverage. They handle non-alcoholic drinks, and they have 1,000+ stores. We're starting conversations there. We are talking to Gummer Wholesale. They handle all of Northeast Ohio, doing wholesale to convenience stores and more. They have another 1,000 stores. We got off. It's been a great Thursday. We got off the phone this morning with folks at Kroger, and so we are starting to have those conversations as they start looking at resetting. We are in talks with UDF, being local. We are looking at a broker out of Michigan called Merit Sales. And on the even more exciting part, we are starting to, also look at influencers, people who will talk about how great our water is. And to that end, we're looking at, we've been contacted by some NFL players through their agencies. And that's the exciting part as well. So if Joe Burrow walks behind me, we've got something there. So I'll let Eric talk to you about our updating our website. Go ahead, and the e-commerce leg.
Oh, yeah, so we are currently updating our website. It's going to be a cleaner visualization based on some Shopify templates. We've recently added our product to Amazon, Walmart.com, TikTok. Interestingly enough, just launched a store with the past several months. We're about 98% there to be finished. We should finish that actually in the next couple of days. And that basically gives us a national footprint, which is awesome. We have a 6-pack and our 12-pack that we currently sell on the website. Those will be available nationally. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you very much for listening to us. And yeah, as Marvin just mentioned, if anybody has any questions, please.
Feel free to turn yourself off mute if you have any questions here. I do have a question for you guys. And if you could just share, and maybe you could tell us how you got such quick distribution and that network, that initial proprietary network that you started with. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, Satinder, do you want to do that?
Yeah, so the proprietary network is a network of folks that I know. And if you've not noticed, most of convenience stores are run by people who look like me. So, and it's really brilliant because that network is stretching from goes into Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, up into Wisconsin. So all these folks know each other. They talk to each other as they've established their stores. Some folks have nearly 150 stores. So that's how we had tapped into that network. So we have, Eric was being a little, modest. We have access to nearly 1,500 stores throughout the tri-state, including Michigan and up into Wisconsin. So that is exciting, and that makes us a good. One of the things that does is as the distributors come and talk to us, we give them, that opportunity because we have those contacts into those stores and they can add to it. So it becomes mutually beneficial for both them and us.
And some of those are already in their distribution. So that's another way in that, we talk to some of these store owners and they say, oh, I'd like you to talk to my distributor, which is a great, there's so much in this world about who you know. So having those personal connections goes a long way in extending those to business relationships. So, and I see Connie had a question around where you can purchase the water. So you can either order it online at our website or on the main page on our website. If you scroll down, and this feature will also be available on the Shopify update, we have a store finder. So you just put in your zip code and it puts the closest location to wherever you're at.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Scott.
Other
Any other-
questions?
I have one more follow-up. So the facility that you guys built, it's in Hamilton, correct?
Correct.
That is correct.
It's already sized to distribute the higher numbers that you went over as far as the plan in the next couple of years, increasing the amount of distribution? Or do you have to add on to that facility to achieve that goal?
Yeah, so our current facility, we can make up to 6 million bottles a year. So we should have no problem to produce the volume for that. I think as we grow and expand, the biggest challenge I see will be the loading dock space and the efficiency of getting trucks in and out of there. But that's a problem we probably won't have easily until, year 2 or 3 for sure.
So
Great.
another way to ask that question is how much of the capacity of the 6 million bottles is utilized right now?
Yeah.
Very little. Right now we're making about once a week at 20% speed, and we can make 6,000, 7,000 bottles in about a 6-hour shift with just 2 of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have definitely planned ahead for those expansion events. I didn't want to be buying new equipment every 3 to 6 months. So we're set up for the foreseeable short-term future quite well.
Okay. And it's you two, and how many other employees? You said you're bringing a few people on for sales, 100% commission.
Yeah, we had one sales guy in Dayton for about 3 months, and then he left. There's still open job postings, so we currently don't have any other salespeople other than ourselves. We'll go out and talk with people. Our families help depending on what needs to be done. My wife does the social media right now, which we're almost 100% online for marketing. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X now, I guess, instead of Twitter, etc. But yeah, as time goes on, the salespeople, we would love to add, as many of, 100% commission. We wish we had a dozen, running around right now. That would be great. But then I see maybe some drivers, some manufacturing help internally, and then we'll, look to add a formal marketing person. That's probably the next step.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us about the margins of the business right now and the unit economics?
Yeah, currently, as was mentioned in the presentation that was sent out, 80% gross margin. We typically, the MSRP is $2.49. We've seen it as high as $5 in some places because retailers can set their own price, and those are usually in some of the breweries. And I'm guessing it's because they want to incentivize alcohol purchase instead of water, but it still does remarkably well in some of those locations. Wholesale, we do $1.49, and then there's discount structures up to 25% based on volume. I think those are the big pieces of that.
Okay. And what's the
And we
go ahead.
I was going to say too, we do a lot of donations or events this year. Like, so if people need water donated, we're happy to do that. It's a great way to get the name out there, people to try it. And we really have a very high, when people try it, they're like, wow, this is really good, which is a great testament to, just to the product. As mentioned, we start with Hamilton water, which is already awesome tasting water. And it's amazing how many people in Hamilton almost want to fight us. Like, you don't have the best tasting water in the world. We do. And we're like, we know, that's why we're here. And we tell our story, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, it totally placates them. It's actually a pretty good interaction.
And can you tell us about the attrition, or I'll say churn, when it comes to your accounts? Of the, I know you guys are over, I think you said 500 or so, whatever, but what kind of repeat is happening when it comes to repurchase?
Yeah, we're targeting 500 for the year. We're in a little over, we've delivered to a little over 250. Repeat is 30 to 40%, and it's actually, we're finding it's driven more by the seasonality. So as the year winds down, a lot of the retailers aren't really interested as much in, stocking up on water for the winter. We totally expect those numbers to go up next spring. But since this was, it'll be our our second year, we're not really sure what those numbers will be yet.
What's the strategy with all that, Eric, in terms of keeping it top of mind for those customers? And if it is seasonality or seasonal based, how do you keep it top of mind with those consumers and customers?
No, that's a good question. I think the way we've talked about this is, the product's great. People love it when they try it, but establishing a new brand is tough. Like, you have to do a lot of legwork, a lot of publicity work, a lot of, marketing to get the word out there. So we just talk about it as the snowball leaving the mountain, and once it goes, it's gonna, have momentum of its own, and just, you better get out of its way. So I think we just have to stay in touch with a lot of these retailers, and luckily, based on Satinder's personal relationship with them, that part will be pretty easy. The other part is, we just need to really ramp up our marketing and advertising efforts on social media. It's probably the cheapest way per click, or per person, to add people into your brand story and get them interested in your product. So we're doing contests, and we have some other ideas how we're going to really supercharge that advertising effort, especially to capitalize on the fact that we now, as I already mentioned, Amazon, Walmart, a lot of these other online portals that people can get our product. So it's just going to be pedal to the metal every day. I mean, that's what it takes to, to start and run a business and get it to where you need it to be.
And then, Satinder, you mentioned some of the distribution networks that you have already started these conversations with, some in Kentucky, Indiana, one in Michigan. What does that look like for that to consummate or to contract out? Is that a multi-year contract? What does that look like?
Yeah, there's a case in point for the pure beverage. We're talking to the guy who already has 100 stores in that network, and it's how the contract is written. So they do some long term, and there's a case study for there's a distributor in town that got Bang. You remember the Bang? So they got them when they were still a young brand, and really helped distribution and all that. So that was a multi-year. And with Pure Beverage, they've done that with there's another water brand, and so it all depends on what kind of conditions they're looking for, or what kind of contract they're looking for. For us, it's increasing distribution and staying with them long term, right? If they're meeting our needs for 1,000, and as they're increasing their stores, it's, to us, that's just a keep increasing the store. So I have no issues. Neither Eric or I, we don't have any issues staying with them long term. I mean, it has to be mutually beneficial. That's the big thing.
Any other questions that are out there? Connie, Tim?
And else for me. Thank you.
Eric, can you talk a little bit about the offering and the terms of the offering and what that means for investors?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, we're offering these units of 12,500, and as we talked, it'll accrue an interest rate of 5% at that 20% discounted price. I think the biggest thing is you know, a lot of people, when you invest money, you're like, what am I going to get at the end? What's your exit strategy? So I think at this point, the exit strategy is it's open. Satinder and I have talked, we could run this business perpetually. You know, it's going to be profitable fairly soon, and the numbers look really, really good. Um, you know, for the longer 5 to 10 years. But if Pepsi came to us and said, hey, you know, we'll give you 20 million, we would seriously consider it, right? So I think based on, you know, all those factors, this is the time. I think if I was going to invest in a company, the earlier you can get in, the more you're going to make at the tail end. So, do you want other details from that weren't in there, or what exactly are you looking for, Marvin?
Just wanted to, if you could just recap what the terms of the offering are for investors and what the value proposition is for them. And I think you covered a lot of that there.
Yep, well done.
Okay.
Well, let me go ahead and turn it over to Eric and Satinder for any final words that you want to share about the company, and also want to make sure everybody knows that they can find information about the offering at wonderfund.co /Pahhni Water. I'll put that into the chat, but go ahead, Eric, Satinder, any final words?
Just thank you for attending today. We're really super excited about this brand. We love the product. You know, and it's one of those things, we're sinking our life savings into it because that's how much we believe in it. If you do have any other questions at any time, I think our contact information, if it's not in there, I'm sure Marvin can get it to you. Happy to answer any questions. Yeah, and we hope you love the water when you try it, and let us know for sure.
Great. All right. Well, that concludes our call. Oh, go ahead, Satinder. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just wanted to echo what Eric said. It is exciting, despite the market being very competitive. I think we have a product. The natural product is really resonating with a lot of folks, especially now when people are very conscious about what they're putting in their body. So, you have your health aspect of it, you have your hydration aspect of it. It's brilliant. It covers a lot of facets. So, once again, thank you for coming online. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and many thanks to Eric and Satinder for sharing about their company. As I said before, you can find out more information about their offering at wonderfund.co /Pahhni Water. I also put their email addresses into the meeting chat, so feel free to reach out to both Eric and Satinder if you have any further questions. I'm sure they may end up reaching out to you as well. And look for them on the shelf. I've already seen them out there several different places. If you go to their website, you can find some of the locales that you can pick it up. So thank you to everyone. Eric, Satinder, thank you.